Sabres Hockey is brought to you by First Niagara, the official bank of the Buffalo Sabres. Labatt Blue Light, the official Canadian import of the Buffalo Sabres. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York, the official health plan of the Buffalo Sabres, reminds you that healthy changes everything. Your local Toyota dealer. Where will Toyota take you? Test drive one at your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Closed captioning for Buffalo Sabres broadcast brought to you by Buffalo Hearing and Speech Center. Better hearing starts at Buffalo Hearing and Speech Center, serving Western New York for 60 years.
Presents Panthers anthem singer Ariel Rose as she honors the United States of America with the singing of our national anthem. And with Ariel tonight, we are honored to have U.S. First Sergeant Thomas, retired with 24 years of active duty in the United States Marine Corps.
Oh, so can you see? What so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glow, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
First of four meetings between these two teams, and let's start with our starting goaltenders, brought to you by Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop's new pumpkin pie with mocha and pumpkin pie white hot chocolate. In net for the Buffalo Sabres, Jonas Enroth, the second-round pick in 06, makes his first ever start against Florida. This season, a record of 0-2-1 with a goals against of .266 and a save percentage of .909. Down to our broadcast right, Jacob Markstrom, the second rounder in 08, second career start against Buffalo, won his first game, came on in relief of Tim Thomas against Chicago a couple of nights ago, made a couple of saves, but then was beaten twice in the shootout. There you see a 3.50 goals against average. This broadcast is brought to you in HD by the new Stereo Advantage. Visit the new Stereo Advantage located on Worley Drive behind ECC North. Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray with you tonight. Glad you could join us. Buffalo Sabres' only win of the season has come on the road. See if they can duplicate that tonight. And right off the draw, Ehrhoff with the shot on the save and a quick whistle as offside is called. Just 9 seconds in. Buffalo will attack from left to right here in the opening period.
Well, this game is very important for the Sabre team. They've got to get themselves on a roll. This is a great opportunity for them, being on the road here, back-to-back nights here in Florida. They can get something going. Maybe got a snowball effect a little bit before they got to head home tomorrow night.
Facing a good one in Alexander Barkov out to take the draw for the Panthers, and he wins it, draws it back into the Panthers zone. And defensively for Florida, they've got some looks as well as Kulikov out there with Brian Campbell. Right now to start it off in the Panthers, left wing to center ice with a shoot into the Buffalo zone. Enroth out to play it. Forehand clear on the boards is kept in down low by Fleischmann on the right wing. Played back in behind the Buffalo net. Foligno there for the Sabres, frees up the puck, and now it's Grigorenko who passes into the middle of his own zone, and the Sabres start with a breakout on the left wing, and Foligno shooting. His tip comes down to the right corner. Otto over skates, and Ehrhoff has to retreat now as Barkov carries to center. Campbell joins the rush and takes a pass over the line. Campbell shot, and a Stick save made by Enroth, and he steers the puck to the near boards. Right wing for Buffalo, and the breakout now in the hands of Cody Hodgson, who brings the puck to center ice. Right wing slide in over the Florida line. Pass into the slot. Grigorenko shot his block. Rebound! And Thomas Vanek's first shot, forcing Markstrom to make the save. Campbell with a backhand pass, and Florida will exit their zone. Just over a minute into this opening period, and the Buffalo Sabres with some chances, but possession in the Buffalo zone is Gotch. Plays it behind the goal. Kopechki carries it to the far corner, tried to cycle it back behind the net for Sean Mathias. That's intercepted by Zadorov. His clearing attempt is kept in, though, at the near point. Gotch plays it behind the net. Met there by Zadorov. Can't clear it again. There's a shot. Enroth coming off the right wing, makes the save over the far post. Mathias behind the Buffalo net. On his backhand, plays it back to the near point. Shot from the point does not get through off the stick of Tom Gilbert. And Buffalo will play off the boards. Right wing and out. Shy of center. Gilbert carries back in. Kopechki takes the pass. Walks to the circle. Still holds it. Now shoots. Saved by Enroth. And the puck on the stick of Tyler Myers and cleared to the line, but not out. Kicked back in by Gilroy, who will now race to the bench. 2 minutes into the first period, no score. Sabres looking to get out of their own end with Tyler Myers carrying the puck just shy of his own blue line. Pass up ahead to Ennis. Girgensons gets chasing behind the Florida net. Puck is cleared on the boards near side. Girgensons behind the net now. He's got some company on his back trying to get away from coverage of Nick Bukestad. Now behind the Florida net. Back to the line. Ristolainen settles the puck. Just wrists one wide of the far post. And now Brad Boyce on the right wing boards in his own zone ahead to Jonathan Huberdeau at center ice. Huberdeau lays the pass off, and Boyce now will carry in over the Buffalo line. Down to the left circle, behind the net, Ristolainen has to let his stick go. He got it tied up, now without a stick, Ristolainen in front of the net, and a shot is fired wide, coming off the right wing. Florida in the Buffalo zone again. Ristolainen just gets back to his stick as the puck comes back to the point for Campbell right side. Plays it off the boards. Huberdeau down to the right wing hash marks. Down to one knee, gets back up again. Now back to Kulikov for Campbell. Top of the circle left side. Kulikov, one-timer! And Jonas Enroth in the blue paint makes the save.
Well, both teams have had great opportunities here early in this first period. The Sabres first going down the ice. Cody Hodgson does a nice job here taking the puck wide. Grigorenko receives the puck in the middle, attempts the shot, is blocked, but Thomas Vanek's coming through. You like to see Grigorenko going through to the net here a little bit. But at the other end, Kopechki gets an opportunity. He looked for his man in the high slot. He was ready for that one time. He wasn't able to get it to him. He decided to take the shot off Enroth, and he did a nice job getting himself in front of it.
Face off in the Sabres zone, and Buffalo with a chance to skate it out. Pass up the center ice in the skates of McCormick, and Buffalo offside as it's touched up by Ehrhoff, who comes in over the line.
Yeah, this puck's going all the way back down into the Sabres zone. It was an intentional offside. Ehrhoff stepped out, touched the puck as it was inside the zone. The lineman did not hesitate. He made that call back to the other end.
Mr. Cormier and Galloway on the lines tonight. It's Dean Morton and Mark Chouinette, your referees. Face off to the right of Jonas Enroth, as we mentioned, making his first ever start against the Panthers. McCormick will lean in for Buffalo, and off the face-off, Panthers play it back to Campbell. His shot hits a skate, and Flynn's pass looking for Drew Stafford. Deflects up into the air. Stafford brings it down and skates back into his own zone. Cross-ice pass McBain up the right wing to center, and he'll lift one into the far corner. Campbell takes a look over his shoulder, sees the pressure from Flynn, and throws it back to the point. Kept in by Ehrhoff. Shot deflected right on goal, and Markstrom makes the save. Stay tuned for the Karuba Collision coming up later in the game, and go to Sabres.com to vote on the Karuba Collision of the Year, where you have a chance to win season tickets for next season. 16:24 to go, first period, no score.
Yeah, you're going to see plenty of line combinations here tonight. Ron Rolson's gone with the 8 forwards and 7D here, so you're going to see a lot of guys playing with different, and he's going to be looking for combinations that possibly could produce for him.
Well, Barkov, Foligno, a good matchup. They're out there again, and the Panthers off the draw in their own zone. Find Fleischmann on the left wing. He puts it deep against Zadorov. Down in the near corner. Comes up the boards for Grigorenko. His pass inside to Foligno. Off his stick quickly, and now it's Grigorenko over the Florida line. Right wing, looking for the tip in front. Foligno dives for it, but missed it. Puck comes back to him behind the net, but ricochets to Barkov, who just gives the puck away. Sabres keep it in. Off the right wing boards and trying to play it to the corner with Zadorov, but he'll back up to the point now, and that'll give the Panthers some room to skate it out to center. And it's Barkov and Fleischmann who edges down the left wing, and a weak shot on the glove side of Jonas Enroth is held onto.
Mikhail Grigorenko has done a nice job here so far in his first 2 shifts in this hockey game, creating getting himself in the areas right here. You're going to see him take the puck wide. And he just gets his head up, realizes he's got Foligno driving to the net. He's just a quick pass, throws it through, looks for that redirection. But the good thing is he's seeing the ice. He's starting to look around a little more, realizing he's got guys with him. And not a one-man show here. He's going to move the puck as much as possible here. You're seeing a great job so far.
Face off to the right of Enroth and off the draw. Kopechki tried to play it out of his skates, go to the net with it, back to the point. Kilroy's shot, that goes wide. It's off the inboards and on the back of the net. Now it comes free, off to the left of Enroth. Now back to the point. There's a shot by Goodbranson. And that one is stopped before it got to the net. Now it's kept in again. Goodbranson, a shot goes off the post, glove side of Enroth as the Panthers keep the pressure on. And Marcel Gotch had that chance as Cody Hodgson from behind his own net plays it to Myers, and he'll lift it down to the Florida zone. And this is a very slow roller, but enough to go for icing with 15-11 to go in the opening frame.
Great opportunity by Florida coming in from the right side, walking out of the corner. That shot was taken on Jonas Enroth, put it right off the post. Right here, you see it just go right off the post crossbar and out.
Cody Hodgson leaning in to take the draw. He'll be waved out, so Thomas Vanek will step in to the left of Enroth. Panthers win the draw cleanly back to the point. Kulikov has it come off the boards, plays it in behind the Buffalo net. Rubidoux trying to get to it, coming down his Campbell to keep it in, but Brad Boyes has to retreat to center. Now looks up ice, and he'll flip one into the left wing corner and give chase. Myers takes a look, plays it off the boards near side. Doesn't get by the first man, but the second attempt does find Flynn, but he turns it over. Rubidoux looks for a pass into the slot. Got the puck there, but no tip in front. And now the Sabres with a chance to change it up and break out. Changes on, and the puck is dumped down into the Florida zone in the right wing corner. Rubidoux with a chance to move it is taken away by Larson. Played behind the net. Jurgensen's gets onto it now on his backhand in the left wing corner. Jurgensen's pass. It's onto the stick of Ennis, but he can't get it to the front of the net. Still along the left wing boards. Sabres with some time in the Florida zone here as Ristolainen plays it from the right point in behind the net. Kulikov takes a hit from Jurgensen's, finishing his check. Now Ennis gets after it behind the net. This new look line for Buffalo. Some good possession. Ennis back to the point. Ehrhoff holds it. No, he does not. Linesman says that puck bounced over the line with 14:03 to go in a scoreless first.
Now the Sabres doing a nice job here with the puck entering the Florida zone. Early in this period, they're gaining control of the puck. They're getting it in deep, or they're hanging on to it right here. Nice battle in the corner. Able to come up with the puck. As soon as it goes to the wall, they're attacked. And bang. No breathing room whatsoever here for the Florida Panthers in their zone. Sabres doing a nice job jumping on the puck.
Panthers win the draw again. Into the Buffalo zone, a slow roller right in front of the net. That one's played away by McBain. Sabres can't clear. Second chance by McCormick to the line, and McBain skates left wing to center. Just ahead of the Florida line, he'll play it in deep. Dylan takes a look, trying to clear that puck in behind the net. Stafford intercepts, plays to the corner down the right wing side. Panthers will get it back again, and they'll bring the puck up to center ice with 13.5 to go in the first. Bergenheim playing his first game in a long time for the Florida Panthers. Out for 18 months. Back at practice on Monday and right back into it for Coach Kevin Dineen here tonight.
Blue Cross Blue Shield values our members by giving a 10% discount at the Sabres store. Just show your ID card. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York. Healthy changes everything.
Draw to the left of Enroth. Panthers win it cleanly again. Looking to cut in from the right wing. A shot that's rifled wide, comes off the glass, and now Stafford, right wing to center. No possession, though the Panthers have it backing in with Barkov at center. For Fleischmann off the left wing after the curl, now shoots it into the Buffalo zone. Far side, Chris Versteeg plays it in behind the net. Nice play behind the Buffalo goal to separate the player from the puck, and that gives Buffalo possession back again. And Flynn now will carry to center. Leads 3 to the Florida line. But can't get it by the Panthers defense as Fleischmann came back to help out. Long pass for Versteeg. Onto the stick now of Myers, who has to turn a couple of times to the right of Jonas Enroth, and now heads up ice with a pass right wing. Tipped by Flynn out over the Panthers line. Campbell, backhand pass him right in front of his own keeper off to the right wing, and Marcus Foligno finishes a check. Gotch carries in on the right side. Down in the corner. Flynn stays with him. Now Kopetsky takes the pass. Still down in the corner. Little give and go with Gotch to the net. And a penalty coming up here to Buffalo. Panthers keep the possession though, and Campbell up top. Plays it down to the top of the right circle. Huberdeau, extra man onto the ice. Carries, dangles in behind the net. Couple of moves. Puck bounces high into the air right in front of the goal. Now Gotch in the left wing corner. Head up as he plays it to the far side for Sean Matthias. Takes it on his backhand. Plays it to Campbell at the point. Top of his own. Fires. Loose puck in front of the Enroth with a pad save to keep it scoreless. And Buffalo is about to go down a man with 12:02 to go in period number 1. We are scoreless in Sunrise, Florida. Sabres shorthanded scoreless with 12:02 to go in the opening period. This Buffalo Sabres penalty kill is brought to you by Napa. Napa has the know-how.
Nikita Zadorov is in the box for hooking here. Ford is coming out of the corner. Zadorov just gets his stick up, slows his man down a little bit, prevents him from getting 100% to where he needed to go. And the referee made that call.
Panthers power play 26 in the NHL early on in the season. Buffalo's penalty kill ranked number 10. And off the draw in the Buffalo zone, Pesek plays it in behind the net. Traffic there as the puck still played down behind the icing line. Now it's Barkov on the right wing boards. He's met. Plays it behind the goal. Centering pass goes off a Sabre stick, and now it's Campbell who keeps it in for Barkov on the right wing corner. Up to the top, Kulikov and Campbell, left circle, holds it, pass cross ice. Panthers moving this puck around. Kulikov shot blocked by Stafford and cleared into the Panther zone. Myers onto the ice, along with Weber now for Buffalo. Flynn out there to kill on this shift. Along with Larson, as Fleischman carries down to the Buffalo line. He's tied up enough and spun off the puck, and now the Sabres shorthanded. Here's Larson in over the Florida line. Into Flynn, who tips one up over top of the net. As Buffalo keep possession. Another shot by Larson in the slot, and that one is fired wide. 2 chances for the Sabres shorthanded, but back come the Panthers on the power play. Bouncing puck on the left wing. Centering pass. Huberdeau got a stick on it, and Enroth to his left to hold the fort, but a couple of great chances shorthanded for Buffalo.
Yeah, they're being very aggressive out there right now in this penalty kill, and this is what makes them successful right here. Mike Weber in the middle of your screen. When Florida starts coming down the ice, just kind of hangs around the blue line. No need to back off. Does a nice job taking a couple steps up, forces him to make the move, and he loses control of the puck. The Sabres are able to get it out of the zone once again. So nice job by the Sabres standing up, not being too aggressive, but being aggressive enough to force Florida to do something they don't want to.
Face off to the left of Enroth, and Steve Ott wins this draw, but the clearing attempt goes off of his back, and it stays in the Sabres zone. Bukestad kicks at it, but now Ott. Second chance to clear. Gives Bukestad extra shot. Next about to play the puck. Plays it to an open corner. Another turnover. Here's Ott. White and fires, and that one goes off a skate. Panthers power play has yielded more scoring opportunities for Buffalo than they've had against Enroth, and with 30 seconds left. Give the man advantage for the Panthers as it's brought down to the Buffalo line. It stays just onside. Brad Boyes in the left wing. Gets the puck back again. Out of his skates, now to the circle. Cross ice pass. Jonathan Huberdeau takes it off the boards. Holds it. Pass into the slot. Back to Huberdeau again. Carries underneath the far circle. Head up as he cradles the puck and plays it back to the line. Gilroy, back to Huberdeau, back to Gilroy, shot, that goes off the leg, into the corner near side. 3 seconds left, and the penalty kill for the Sabres. It's behind the Buffalo net, and onto the ice now is Nikita Zadorov, and he's hanging around the Florida blue line to jump into the rush. Carried in, here's Drew Stafford, dangles and plays it off the post. Cut to the net and hit the far post, just as the penalty to Nikita Zadorov expired and the rush was on. Both teams change as the Panthers, almost as if to catch their breath. A very slow start from out behind their own net. And now up through center, it's Kopetsky. In over the Buffalo line on the right wing. He curls to the boards, watched by Ennis. Sean Matthias in the far corner. Ristolainen stays with him. Played back to the point. Bouncing puck, but kept in. Now for Kopetsky and Gotch down on this left wing corner. Kopetsky off the board, sends it into the slot, but it bounces high into the air. Matthias brings it down. Backhand pass to the far point. There's a shot. That one is fired off the end boards. Big hit behind the net, and Enroth traps it with his blocker and stick hand to keep us scoreless with 9:05 to go on the first in Florida. Nothing on the board yet. Both teams with chances. The Ford dealers of Western New York replay brought to you by the Ford F-150 with EcoBoost, built Ford tough.
Well, Drew Stafford does a nice job driving in the net. Cody Hodgson, excellent backhand saucer across the dribble. Look at him, just kind of leans it out there, draws the goaltender over to him, pulls it right away, brings it to his backhand, but puts it directly off the post. Nice opportunity by the Sabres, but a great job by Drew Stafford hanging on to the puck, taking it, dropping his shoulder, and getting it to the front of the net. That is where he's effective, and that's how he's going to score some goals.
Face off in the Buffalo zone to the right of Enroth. Panthers with possession off the draw. Versteeg back to the line. Shot goes off of Barkov's skate. Weissman takes a whack at it at the bottom of the circle on the right wing side, and it goes wide of the net. Trying to tip it out. Sabres can't clear the zone, but now they do catch a break as it exits the zone here on the right wing side. And Gilroy has to go back into the Panther zone to set up the breakout now for Florida. 8:37 to go, no score here in the opening period. Panthers back into the Buffalo zone. Fleischmann down the left wing corner, has a bouncing puck knocked away. And skating back towards his own left wing corner is Flynn, and he plays the heart around for Ott, who just tips it outside the line, and the Panthers hammer it right back in. Florida finishing up a change. And it's Tom Gilbert, the only player to stay on, as the Panthers get everybody else onto the bench for a break, and the Sabres taking their time, getting out of their own zone patiently. A pass up the right wing finally for Girgensons, who tips it in behind the Florida net. Out to play it is Markstrom. Helps the Panthers get out of their own zone, but now Markstrom to his right again will settle it down. As the Sabres dump it right back in. Here's Kopecky off the right wing. In his own zone, cross-ice pass, finds the stick of Sean Mathias, the former Belleville Bull of the Ontario Hockey League, will lead it. And it's played ahead now by Mike Weaver and the Panthers into the Buffalo zone again. Mathias to the right wing for Marcel Gotch in behind the net. Nikita Zadorov, couple of whacks at it, comes up with a puck. And Zadorov with a nice neat pass finds Ennis, who starts the breakout. Here's a chance fired wide of the goal. Someone's lost the glove out there. Myers with a shot through traffic. That one is stopped. Myers reaching for the loose puck. And now Sean Mathias will shoot it into the Buffalo zone far side. And Zadorov will curl out with 7:15 to go in the scoreless first. Now he opts to circle back in behind Jonas Enroth, who's tucked in between the posts and under the crossbar. Keeping watch. Panthers with two deep on the forecheck. Clearing pass intercepted by Boyce. Plays it to the far corner as Bukestad tries to curl away from coverage, and his pass back to the blue line comes all the way back down to Markstrom. Campbell plays it off the boards to center. Jonathan Huberdeau has it go off the end of his stick, and Boyce just plays it in behind the Buffalo goal. Enroth on his forehand, looks to his left, gives it right to Huberdeau. Nowhere to go, though, as he's taken to the boards by Weber. Huberdeau still with it. Trying to work out of that right wing corner. Now in behind the Buffalo net, Bukestad puts it at the side of the goal. Enroth pinching the pad and skate against the post to keep it out. And finally the referee stops play with 6:31 to go.
Passion, talent, and hard work help the Sabres perform at their best.
That's also what helps us win injury cases. Give us a call.
Well, Nikita Zadorov in his third game here doing a nice job down low. He had a little turnover there just after this, but a nice job hitting the man and then realizing where the puck was, getting it, and moving up the ice. Mistakes are going to happen, but when you can see more positives than mistakes, it's a nice sign.
Gilroy off the draw, shot to the point, gloved down easily by Enroth. Bergenheim, Gomez, and Winchester out now for the Panthers, who are winning their fair share of draws in this game so far.
Yeah, this is something the Sabres got to pick up on here, because in their zone, they're chasing way too much off the draws. And right here, luckily the lane opened up. Grigorenko got out of the way a little bit, so Enroth was able to see that puck, but they got to start bearing down on those draws.
Sabres get the puck into the Florida zone, but the Panthers send it right back to the Buffalo blue line, where it's pinned against the boards here on the right wing side for Buffalo. Girgensons fishing for it, along with Grigorenko and McCormick. All three in over the blue line, but no puck possession. And back the other way comes Sean Bergenheim in over the line. Far post tipped in. Winchester drove the net off the right side. Enroth argues the call, claiming goaltender interference, no doubt. But for now, it's 1-0 Florida.
Well, he might have a case there, because Winchester's driving the outside. Ready to turn over here at the neutral zone. And everybody had to start backing up. McBain's in good position. We got Ehrhoff in good position, but he's got to be alert. He's got to know what's coming in from behind. Bergenheim makes a beautiful pass across, and it's almost like Enroth got a piece of it with his glove, and it kind of knocked it down, and then the momentum of Winchester was able to take it into the net.
his second of the year. And how about Sean Bergenheim returning, unfortunately for Buffalo fans, but his first game back after 18 months away from the game. And a lovely feed to the far post. And now Buffalo trailing with 5:48 to go. The Panthers carrying over the Sabres line again. A shot stopped by Enroth easily. And he'll hold it for a face-off. 5:44 to go, first period. Panthers lead it by a score of 1-0.
Sabres trail Florida 1-0 here in the first with 5:44 left. That man right there, Jesse Winchester, scores the game's first goal. You're going to see Enroth get a piece of it right here. And he's just going to touch it enough. But here's Winchester coming in. It's going to just touch his stick, redirect it a little bit, slow it down, and into the net. Why that was not called for goaltender interference is why, because it hit his stick and it was already gone before he made contact with Enroth.
During the break, Ron Rolston had a lengthy chat with Mark Tonet about that call. Sabres off the draw, bring it up to center ice. Steve Ott with a pass off. On the left wing, comes back to Ott down the right wing corner. He leaves it. Played back to the point. No shot yet as Zadorov plays it behind the net. Puck bounces away from Flynn. And the Panthers are able to clear it out. It's Barkov with a pass up on the right wing. As Campbell joins the rush and he'll leave it. Here's a shot and a pad save by Enroth. Campbell again, this time off the left wing boards. Barkov, time and space taken away by Tyler Myers, but Campbell coming down from the left point keeps it deep. Brings it down underneath the icing line. Zadorov, nice job to get the puck back for Buffalo, but the clearing attempt is kept in by Campbell. Albert Steve working in the far corner, right wing side for the Panthers as they work from right to left in the opening period. Puck bounces right in front of the net off Fleischmann, and Enroth falling back keeps that puck from going into the net. Ron Rolston on WGR 550. You can hear the coach's comments Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Hear what the coach has to say about the state of his hockey club, looking for their second win of the season tonight, trailing 1-0 with 4:50 to go in the first period.
Yeah, Ron doesn't usually say a whole lot, but today he was involved. He was acknowledging everything that was going on. So
that's because you were there.
No,
he likes you.
That Brad May guy was there, and he was
smiles.
kind of intimidated.
No, he smiles at you. Here's the Panthers back with the puck again. Bukestad takes a shot from the left wing circle, and that goes wide into the right wing corner. Panthers keep it deep again. Weber playing physical behind the net on Brad Boyes, and Boyes is knocked down. Buffalo trying to get the puck out of their own zone, and finally they do, and Ennis shy of center at the right wing. A little bank pass off the boards, too far for Jurgensen, and Bukestad makes the turn off his own zone. And lays a pass off left wing, Jonathan Huberdeau to the Buffalo line and in. Huberdeau cradles, holds it, takes the shot. Enroth through traffic, sees it, and the rebound is fired wide as well. Another shot comes off the right wing boards across the mouth of the goal, and the Panthers continue with pressure in the Buffalo zone before Ennis picks it up. And he'll skate it over to the left wing. Buffalo changing. Ennis carries it over the line. Pass for Larson. Right wing boards. Larson trying to see that puck through with a rink-wide pass for Enroth. Got a piece of it, and Enroth plays it for Thomas Vanek, who will play it in behind the goal. This is Ennis now for the right wing corner. Trying to bring it up the boards. Has it knocked away from him. Kopetsky behind the net. Turned it over. Comes back to him, and he'll skate right between the hash marks. Bothered all the way to the blue line by Thomas Vanek. Now Cody Hodgson trying to feed it from the left circle to Vanek, who was cutting to the net. And with 3:28 to go in the first, 1-0 Florida. Panthers shoot it deep in the Buffalo zone. Marcel Gotch behind the net. Kopetsky now plays it off the boards, but Steve Ott is there to receive, and the Sabres now with 4 up to center ice, 2 back for Florida. Here comes Stafford down the right wing. Kulikov stays with him. Stafford behind the net for Steve Ott. Backhand pass in front. That goes off the skate intended for Cody Hodgson, who continues the battle underneath the icing line. Panthers get it back again. A lot of room to skate out of their own zone as Kulikov brings up shoulder center, and it's tipped by Marcel Gotch deep into the Buffalo zone. Another 3 minutes to go. First period. McBain's clearing attempt goes off the skate. And right to Drew Stafford, who will work now with Pesek. Plays it in behind the Buffalo goal. Pesek gets it back again. A former Edmonton Oil King. It's a puck to the blue line, and it's tipped out into the Florida zone. And the Panthers retreating back in their own end will bring it out. This time the pass over on the right wing side. Just shy of center before Sean Bergenheim just lifts a lazy puck into the Buffalo zone. Sabres say thank you, and here comes Flynn. Right wing over the line into the Florida zone. Grigorenko takes a shot on that one. Goes off the post and then off the end boards. Now McBain at the point takes a shot. That hits a leg in front. Now 3-on-2 for the Panthers as they come back up through center. Pass off on the right wing side. From the circle, shot saved by Enroth. And the rebound, Enroth covers up with 2:06 to go in the first.
Well, Thomas Vanek's known for his offense, but excellent defender too. A great example right here. Sticks with his man. He ends up stealing the puck, gets a stick underneath Kopecky, but stops dead, and then gets back instantly looking for the offensive play. And here's Grigorenko taking the puck wide, just using the man for the screen, puts between his legs and off the post.
Enroth has been busy in this opening period. Off the draw to his left, the Sabres can't clear. Panthers with Versteeg carrying in behind the net. Tries a wraparound, blocker saved by Enroth. 16-4, shots in favor of Florida, and Versteeg keeps it in at the blue line. Cross-ice pass for Barkov, top of the left circle, had to go off his skate. Barkov, though, keeps it in, plays it down to the left wing corner. Marcus Foligno keeping the play on the boards. It comes back, Gilbert holds it, shoots into traffic, doesn't get to the net. Fleischmann off the left wing. Plays it for Versteeg, comes back to Fleischmann. There's a shot, Enroth, another save, and the puck deflects off the glass, and finally it's Ristolainen who clears that one down the ice for Buffalo, but icing called against the Sabres with 1:19 to go in the first.
Rouse, smart move by the Sabres, getting that puck down. They need a rest, but they're spending just way too much time in their own zone. They're kind of standing around watching, and then when they do decide to do something, they're just chasing. You know, you got to go eliminate, and when you get that puck, you got to get some support coming across, or just get it out of the zone. Just, you know, don't waste that opportunity, but too many times they're just doing way too much chasing here so far in this first period.
Jurgensen's off the face-off in the Buffalo zone over on the left wing boards, halfway up, trying to get past two Panthers. As Brad Boyes is one of them, trying to get the puck deep in the Buffalo zone at the blue line offside. As the puck just bounced outside the blue line, then tapped back in onto the stick of Brad Boyes, the former Sabre.
A big part of your own zone, too, is winning battles, coming up with the puck. Florida's just very content with getting the puck in, and the Sabres are backing off the line just a little bit. I'd like to see them as aggressive 5-on-5 as they are 4-on-4, or being shorthanded, I'm sorry, because they're doing a nice job standing up. The 5-on-5, they're backing off a little bit, giving Florida too easy an entry.
Well, Florida's got some great skaters on their team, too. They've got some speed, even the likes of Chris Versteeg, who can jet it in. Now the Sabres on the left wing into the Florida zone. Campbell trying to clear, he can't, his backhand is kept in. Sabres have had a couple of times where they possessed the puck in the Florida zone. There's a shot into traffic, no save needed by Markstrom on that occasion. And the puck is lifted just inside the Sabres line. Pesek will play across ice. Over 38 seconds to go in the period. It's lifted into the Florida zone, but icing is called against Buffalo. So an ill-timed dump in there by Nikita Zadorov, perhaps, as an offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Panthers inside 35 seconds.
Well, it's something right now, Brad May talked about it in the opening. You know, the longer this team continues to kind of stumble a little bit, doubt starts setting in. In games like this, you got to get out, you got to get a couple good shifts together, you got to get some good scoring opportunities to prevent that from happening. You don't want that early in a hockey game, everybody going to the room right now thinking, oh man, here it's happening again. They got to get some positives out of here quick.
Bukestad wins the draw on the Sabres zone, back to the point, Campbell. Here's a shot by Boyes. Oh, what a save by Enroth as he fired out the right leg to keep it at 1-0. Stafford intercepts a pass, top of the circle, the Buffalo zone. With 21 seconds, will skate left wing to center. Laid off the boards by Stafford. Sabres change it up as Kulikov has it behind the Panthers' net. 13 seconds to go in the period. Campbell carries just ahead of the Buffalo line and flips it in. Brad Boyes, right wing corner, trying to play it behind the net. And we've got a penalty on the play. A referee down here in the near corner makes a call. And I believe the Buffalo Sabres are about to go on their first power play of the night.
Yeah, Brad Boyes, he's going to the box for hooking, but Brad Boyes had a great opportunity right off the draw here. Florida once again wins the draw. Nice pass from Nero to the boys in the high slot. Enroth makes an excellent save, keeping his team within one here. And then down low, you just seen the hook on Ehrhoff. And 4 seconds left in this first period. Sabres got an opportunity off the draw here to tie it up.
Sabres power play right off the draw. Centerman tripped up on the play as Steve Ott tried to get to the puck, and McBain will not get a shot away as the puck came to the right circle. Buffalo Sabres power play brought to you by New Wave Energy. He said, anyway, we've got a fight as Steve Ott squares off with Eric Goodbranson, the big tall defenseman for the Florida Panthers. The two linesmen are going to wrestle both players to the ice in the Florida zone. at the end of the period.
Yeah, I like this. Steve Ott, captain of this hockey team on the road. He knows his team's in a little trouble here, and he needs a spark, and he needs something to talk about going into this dressing room for this intermission. 4 seconds here. He gets tripped right up off the draw. He's upset from here. There was only 4.4 seconds left, but he comes across and makes contact with his man. And then right then, he knew exactly what he wanted to do here. He wanted to get something out of this period. Nice job by Steve Ott. But once again, spent a little too much time in their own zone. You know, with that goal by Florida, Sabres have been outscored 15-1 in the first period so far this year. It's been their nemesis. They got to clear it up, but they got a chance to come out here in the second period with the power play.
The only goal of the game after the first 20 minutes, courtesy of Jesse Winchester, his second of the year. It's 1-0 Florida after one.
Sabres hockey is brought to you by Verizon Fios, America's fastest, most reliable internet, and proud sponsor of the Buffalo Sabres. Brought to you by the Ford F-150 with EcoBoost, built Ford tough. Need a fence, deck, or porch railings? Cut your maintenance and trust in the best. Call the Vinyl Outlet today. Brought to you by your Buffalo Hyundai dealers. Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Buffalo Sabres. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Now at your local Greater Buffalo area Honda dealer. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO.
Time for first period highlights, and when speaking of goals, there was only one. There he is back in the mix, Sean Bergenheim, after just a terrible run through this whole groin abdominal injury he's been dealing with that may have been career-threatening, but Bergenheim finds a way to get involved as Jesse Winchester goes hard to the goal. 21st time Jesse Winchester has faced off against the Buffalo Sabres. First time he has ever beaten a Sabre netminder, and that goal has Florida up 1-0 through 20 minutes of play. The Corsi number, we've introduced it this year on our telecast. It not only focuses on shots on goal, but the missed shots and the ones that get blocked by the opponent as well. And the first period this year has been a struggle, to say the least, for the Sabres, and it was when it comes to the Corsi number, as you see, at -14. And look at those opportunities. 8 shots from that red area. Speaking with Johan Larsson yesterday, you see Buffalo with 0 chances down low. That is a real tough one to digest. Larsson was saying, we've just got to get in there and, so to speak, get some of the easy goals. And by that he meant just be close enough to the goal that you can just chip some up and over. Think back to the Islander game this year that they did win. Tyler Ennis had a goal that was scored from about 6 inches as it just sat in the crease. So Buffalo's got to find a way to get to the paint and generate a lot more in period number 2. They'll start the frame on the power play as we go to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray for second period action.
And well, Brian, after that altercation to end the first period, didn't give me a chance to tell you that this Buffalo Sabres power play will be brought to you by New Wave Energy. Visit nwavenergy.com to join the power behind the Buffalo Sabres. Use offer code SABRES.
Now the Sabres need to take this power play opportunity here and start getting some shots on net. You know, it shot 18-4 in that first period. You're not scoring goals if you don't get the puck into the zone and get it to the net. It's got to be thrown to the net from all different angles. And I just don't think they paid a big enough commitment to that in the first period when they had their opportunities. Yeah, they had a couple great opportunities, but they got to start throwing some more rubber at this guy.
They seem to have had their most tenacity, and when Larsson on a previous penalty kill in Buffalo, same here tonight. Their most tenacious moments chasing the puck and keeping it deep have been when they've been shorthanded here. They need that same kind of energy when they have the extra skater.
And shorthanded, they're playing smarter. They're standing up at the blue line. They're forcing forward to dump it in and do something they don't want to. And you're being right. They're being aggressive down low. They're finishing checks. All the things they're doing on the penalty kill, they need to take over in the 5-on-5 play.
All right, so Buffalo on the power play to start it out, and the Sabres will attack from right to left here in this period. And Ennis carries underneath the circle far side. Back to the point. Ehrhoff plays it back to the right wing boards. Here's Vanek with a tip in front, and the second chance. Markstrom able to clear that one off the line, and it's sent down the ice, and Ehrhoff behind the net. With 1:26 left in the Buffalo power play, we'll watch as his team breaks out straight up the middle of the ice. Ehrhoff now to center with a pass off to Ennis. He carries right wing. Right, is slipping along the boards. Foligno now is dumped in behind the goal by Weaver. Still down on the ice is Foligno. Hoping he gets up, and he does, trying to play the puck into the corner for Cody Hodgson. Campbell's on it, he's able to clear, and he and Foligno run into one another. They both go to the ice. And both players, at least Foligno will go to the bench. Campbell stays out. Sabres power play down to 52 seconds left in it. As it's out to center ice, and now in over the line is Myers, down to the left circle. Campbell hammers one on the boards, far side. Ehrhoff on his backhand keeps it in, pass into the slot. Here's a shot by Vanek. Loose puck in front of the net, and the Sabres can't get that second chance. It's cleared down the ice by the Panthers. 34 seconds to go in the power play. Tyler Myers from the far circle down to the blue line at center. Backhand feed in over the line, but offside as Gergensen's with the first touch in ahead of the play.
Well, Thomas Vanek almost had a nice redirection in front of the net. Puck's going to come from the side. He's going to stand right in the front. He redirects it. There's a second opportunity by Foligno, but after that, the puck goes down low. Marcus Foligno ends up being on the ground. Look at 3 Sabres. 3 Sabres and only 2 Florida. Another Florida comes in. They got to come up with that puck. They got to start winning those battles. Too easy for Florida to get the puck and throw it down the ice.
Here's Winchester shorthanded now. Takes it to the far corner. Centering pass goes off a skate right across the face of the goal. And Marcel Gottsch now plays it back to the point. Gilbert trying to play it down low, and it's off of Myers. Now Drew Stafford over center, right wing. Tipped in over the line. Little backhand pass into the slot. Stafford can't catch up to it. And it's Brad Boyes who will get it up to center ice. Zadorov cuts it off, and offside. Buffalo again trying to enter the zone. We're back to 5-on-5. No, we're not. Yes, we are. We're back to 5-on-5. Good Branson still in the box along with Steve Ott finishing off their majors.
A little trouble counting there, partner?
Well, there was for a moment, yes. Actually, I didn't take the time to count. I looked down and saw 2 bodies in the penalty box.
Now, don't assume in this game because you'll look funny.
Larson will take the draw. Just ahead of the Florida blue line. McCormick gets the puck in over the line, but the Panthers with possession again. And Gilroy between the hash marks finds Christopher Steve, who snaps a pass onto Campbell Stick. Led everybody in the first period in regards to ice time, and that's no surprise. Panthers will shoot it in off the right wing to the far corner. Pesek plays it in behind the net. Bounces puck in front. Ehrhoff stays with it. Still loose in the paint. Now it comes free, and Pesek from the right circle in his own zone leads a rush of 3 to center. In over the Florida line with a shot down to an open corner here on the left wing side. Kept deep and behind the play. Referee has blown play down.
Jonas's mask. He's got an issue with his mask when the guys were in on top of him. On that last rush, he had 2 players right into his crease, one right on top of him. And when he had the opportunity to let the referee know, he had to adjust his mask. You see it right there. The dig right in on top of him, knocks his mask a little bit. He had to take the time to readjust it, put the strap back on, he's ready to go.
17-19 to go, just underway second period. Sabres now 0 for 1 on the power play. As the puck is fired into the Sabres zone, Ehrhoff out to play it. Brad Boyes traps it to the right wing corner, plays it behind the net. Goes by Bukestad, Huberdeau giving chase. Nice little touch and missed the line, and now we'll lift the high one out to center ice. That's keeping the game simple. Sabres players talked about that pretty much to a man. Now a turnover by the Panthers, and in over the line is Grigorenko left wing. Can't get the shot away. Bukestad with a nice back check. Now the puck behind the Panthers goal. And Bukestad with a short pass. And Kulikov plays it up to center ice. Panthers in over the Buffalo line. Brad Boyes left wing boards. He's checked now. A chance. Cody Hodgson wide open. The pass at the Florida blue line missed him. There was nobody near Cody Hodgson, but he just couldn't settle it down. Would have had a one-on-one with the 23-year-old Swedish goaltender Markstrom, who's tending the twine tonight for Florida. Sabres keep it in. Ehrhoff from the left point just floats one on goal, but enough traffic in front to give maybe Markstrom a little bit of trouble. Don't miss color analyst Rob Ray on WGR 550. The former Sabre takes you inside the locker room, gives you a player's view when he joins Schopp and the Bulldog game days at 4 on the home of the Buffalo Sabres, WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's a great show. You've got to listen. You could learn something. Anyways, here's a great opportunity for the Sabres right up the middle. Cody Hodgson. It's just a bouncing puck. If he just could have got his leg on it, he had a little more time than what he thought. He was able to cradle that puck and have an opportunity, but he just tried using his stick and it got by him.
Sabres forced back in their own end. Ehrhoff behind the net. Little backhand pass off the boards. That finds McBain. Former Panther snaps a pass up the left wing. Cody Hodgson's in over the line. Hodgson, McBain trailing. Sends it to the front of the net. And it's by everybody. And the Panthers will bring it out. Bergenheim plays it ahead to Gomez, who will snap it down to the left wing corner. Puck goes behind the Buffalo net. Bergenheim, the Gomez one-timer. That one is blocked, and now the Sabres' Thomas Vanek leaves it. He was hoping that Ehrhoff would carry it out. Bergenheim for Winchester. Pad save, Henroth. What a pad save with the right leg to keep it at 1-0 Florida here in the second.
Well, too much standing around right there. Ehrhoff just sort of standing there, not being aggressive enough to the puck. You can't let a man just stand there. Peels off one. Cody Hodgson just lets him go. You've got to be a little more aggressive. You got to get sticks in front of that. You got to make that attempt to try to get the puck or to slow him down or push him into an area where he's not going to be able to get that point-blank shot. But Jonas Enroth doing a nice job getting his body in front of it and recovering the rebound for the whistle.
Face off in the Sabres zone. Puck bounces to the front of the net. Sean Matthias cannot settle it down. Sabres with a chance now to skate left wing to center. And is fired in by Zemgus Girgensons. On the right wing boards, Stafford is knocked down as he tried to keep it in the zone. Bouncing puck shy of the blue line. And now it's off to Kupetsky to center. Up on the left wing, Myers stands him up at the blue line. Puck kicked into the Buffalo zone. And the pass now finds Girgensons to escape the puck up to center ice. Bothered enough, though, as he fires it into the Panthers zone by Sean Matthias, who's back checking on the play. Gilbert from the left wing corner plays it off the boards. Kept in by Larson. Little backhand comes to the net. And Markstrom had to fire the pad out. Not much on that one, but that caught him by surprise. Kupetsky behind the net. Plays it off the left wing boards. And now Gilbert has a lot of space as he skates right wing to center. Up to the Buffalo line with it before he drops it. And a nice play on Matthias following up. Matthias takes the shot in, brought the save, and through a crowd. The puck was cleared to the Buffalo line and out with Weaver backing up into the Panther zone. Off the boards to the near side for Barkov. He tips it to center into open ice. Panthers onto it, and it's off the boards. Enroth way out of his net to play it. Not clear of the corner, and Barkov keeps it in on the boards, right wing corner. Into the boards, but Barkov plays it down low underneath the icing line. Now behind the net to receive it, watched by Foligno. They've been matched up for most of the game tonight. Myers picks up the loose puck. He'll bring it up ahead now for Ennis on the left wing. Shy of center before he's bumped off the puck. Versteeg sidesteps a check from Zadorov, who looks like he's injured himself off of that contact with Versteeg. The puck comes to Zadorov as he tries to go to the bench. Plays it into the Florida zone. Ennis spinning on left wing boards. Plays it underneath the icing line. So Kulikov has it now and is played ahead to Bukestad, who will skate left wing to center. All the way to the Buffalo line and in, and offside is called. Nikita Zadorov bumped in the second period, went to the bench. 1-0 Florida. The Toshiba Business Solutions replay, the official copier company of the Buffalo Sabres. Toshiba Business Solutions is your leader in document management.
Tyler Myers doing a nice job being physical along the wall. Kupetsky comes down, plays the puck, then he finishes the check, and he hangs on him. Does not allow him by. Waits for his man to come back and pick up the puck. Larson, and here's Zadorov. He steps up, throws his right shoulder out at the blue line, and then he went off. He's young, little stinger there. Watch him on the bench during the intermission. He's fine.
Riverdo right wing shot right on, and at the top of the blue ice to make the save, Jonas Enroth. Some more agitated bodies after a very slow breakup of the play at the side of the Buffalo net. 13:36 to go, second period, 1-0 Panthers.
Yeah, Steve Ott's trying to entice his man out of that pile. And that's Kopetsky right there. But Huberdeau gets knocked down. He's on the side of Enroth. And he gives Weber a little shot there when he's trying to get up. Steve Ott steps in and gives Huberdeau a shot back. But they got to start protecting Enroth a little bit. He's on an awful lot of traffic in front of him. He's been banged an awful lot here tonight.
Sabres in their own zone win the draw. Cody Hodgson plays it ahead. Flynn tips it deep into the Florida zone and gives chase. Good pace. Steve Ott behind the net now. Trying to come out of the corner near side. Buffalo skating from right to left in this period. Pass into the slot. Panthers there to intercept. And Bukestad will carry it right wing into the Buffalo zone. Between the circles all the way to the left wing side. Taking the boards by Weber. Hodgson looking to finish his check behind the net on Huberdeau. Hodgson trying to take the puck away, but Winchester steps in the way and has it now for the Panthers. Backing in, near circle, turns to his forehand. Gomez takes the puck away from him. Pass across ice, and a shot stopped by Enroth. Coming down the left wing after a puck deflected off the stick of Steve Ott. And the Panthers continue to buzz around. Here's Winchester with another shot. Bergenheim had the last chance, and a pass back to the point, missing everybody for Florida. And Buffalo will get a change in as the Panthers have to go back into their own zone with 12:35 to go here in period number 2. Only goal of this game so far scored by Winchester, who carries in down the right wing, plays it deep in the Buffalo zone. Panthers will change. Sabres will start with Ehrhoff from behind his own net. Pass off to the right side, now up to center. Larson trying to split the defense, and Larson has the puck roll right to Markstrom, who plays it to the corner near side. Ehrhoff keeps the puck in the zone. On his backhand, Ennis turns the forehand in the slot, can't get the shot away. Kopetsky then comes up with a loose puck and plays it down to the near boards. Marcel Gotch away from Ennis with the puck. Ennis continues the forecheck though, along with Larson in behind the Florida net. Now Sean Matthias for Campbell down in the corner near side. Larson and Girgensons with the Sabres keeping the Panthers heading in their own zone. In the right circle in his own end, Campbell plays it ahead. Now Kopetsky with a tip for Gotch. Left wing drop pass onto the stick of Steve Ott. He banks one off the boards, but Larson at the end of his shift had nothing left, and he'll go to the bench as the Panthers from back in their own end regroup as well. Kulikov off the boards for Steve. Left wing, bothered by Foligno, down in under the icing line to the Buffalo zone. Plays it back towards the point because Branson plays it behind the net. Versteeg holds the puck, plays it back to Goodbranson, winds and fires, and a blocker save. Rifling the puck to the far glass was Jonas Enroth. Only 4 shots. Here's Fleischmann behind the net. Pass out. Here's Gilroy with a shot, and good positioning by Jonas Enroth to keep it at 1-0.
All right, we talked about the Sabres allowing Ford to enter the zone way too easy. Here's a great example. Ford is coming up. That's Cody Hodgson in the middle. The D backs off. Cody Hodgson just kind of sticks his stick out there and just kind of fishes a little bit. Not much of an effort. Allows them to get in the zone, get set up, and then the play continues from there. Steve Ott doing a nice job on the back check here. Getting himself in a position. All of a sudden, Gotch tries to battle in the back pass. Steve Ott's in perfect position to get that puck and move it up the ice out of the zone.
Face off to the left of Enroth, and Bukestad out there against Cody Hodgson. Hodgson wins the draw for the Sabres. Thomas Vanek off the boards near side, rink wide. Drew Stafford now, right wing. And in ahead of the play was Cody Hodgson, so Buffalo's got to get out of the zone. That gives Weaver some time to find some open ice with a pass over on the left wing, and Bukestad carries in over the Buffalo line after stop and go. Takes a shot, save made off the right arm of Jonas Enroth. Buffalo being outshot 26-9 as the Panthers carry in over the line again. Weaver with a shot. That is blocked by Weber. Second chance. Doesn't get to the net. Puck stays on the boards. Huberdeau trying to get it through a crowd, but Cody Hodgson comes up with it, and he's going to ice it for Buffalo. And by the time the linesman blows this one down, it'll be 10:15 to go in the second period.
Our Hyundai leaders, the Buffalo Sabres. 274 hits, 6 in the NHL coming into tonight's game. 21 hits so far here tonight. So nice job finishing checks and hits when they got the opportunity, but they got to transition that into winning pucks, coming up with them, and getting opportunities.
9 block shots to 3 as well. It's, I guess, either a positive or negative, depending how you look at it. Here's Goodbranson for the point. Tipped on. Pad save, Enroth. Hodgson can't clear. Vanek trying to reach for that puck on the near boards. Kept in. Now it's Ehrhoff playing across ice. Gets it back from his partner. Snaps a pass up the right wing. Just shy of center. Stafford can't get it ahead. Now the Panthers bring it back. Here's Versteeg from the right circle, and he fires that one high. Goodbranson on his backhand. Far point. Gets it to the side of the net. Versteeg wins the battle. Backhand pass. Front of the net. 1-2. Enroth, what a save! He robs the Florida Panthers from any hope of taking a 2-0 lead. With 9:40 to go in the second, it stays 1-0 Panthers thanks to Jonas Enroth.
Our Toshiba replay. Great save here right at the end of the whistle right here. Fleischmann gets an opportunity right in the high slot. But Jonas Enroth tracking it across, makes an excellent save just before the break. And right here, Mike Weber blocks a shot from Mike Weaver. And after that, he went right to the bench and into the room, and he hasn't come back out yet.
Face off in the Buffalo zone, won by the Sabres and cleared by McBain. It takes a deflection into the floor of the bench. And We'll come back and do it all again. 9:35 going here in the second period. 1-0 Panthers. Winchester the only goal back in the first.
As shots here, 28-9 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Sabres started off real hot here in this second period, getting a few shots. They've kind of stepped back a little bit. They got to turn it back up, get some play in the Florida zone here.
Sabres win the draw again. Get the puck outside the line. Panthers hammer it right back in. Off the corner. And now it's McBain behind his own net. Snaps a pass up right wing. Over the center ice line. Tipped in by McCormick. Taking a look before he plays the puck. Markstrom. Sabres keep it in. McCormick plays it to an open wing. Puck comes off the boards to Branson. Far side Gilroy. Good pass up the boards, and now the Panthers with Brad Boyes at center, and they'll lift it into the Buffalo zone. To the right of Enrock. McBain takes a hit but moves the puck. Sabres looking to exit the zone. Ristolainen back in after missing the last two. Plays it to an open point. Panthers keep it in. Now in behind the net. Kulikov holds it. Back to Campbell. Right point. Keeps it up top. Gomez snaps one on net, looking for the deflection. Enroth looking for the puck, finds it, and shovels it to the far corner to his right. Puck battle on the boards. Grigorenko lays it up the right wing boards. Can't clear. Brad Boyes from the corner. There's a shot that goes wide of the goal harmlessly. Enroth did not have to make the save. Campbell, the blue line, just keeps it in. No, he does not. Offside is called.
Just like each and every game is important for the Sabres.
Each and every client is important to our firm. Give us a call.
Face-off will be just outside the Buffalo line. 29-9 shots in favor of the Panthers, and the face-off numbers getting a bit better for Buffalo. They win another one as Larson gets the job done against Marcel Gottsch. Pass up the right wing at center. Sean Mathias intercepts. Versteeg now. Left circle takes the shot, and Jonas Enroth, who has been a rock tonight for Buffalo, makes yet another save.
Yeah, he has. He's doing a nice job controlling the rebound, too. He's not giving up too much, and when he does, it's kind of only dropping a foot or so in front of him, and he's able to get his glove on it or direct the puck into an area where there's no problems, and his D are able to pick it up. But the Sabres defensemen are starting to do a little better job trying to keep Florida to the outside, and that's where a majority of these shots are coming from the outside. The point blank haven't been there for the last few minutes.
Panthers win the draw cleanly in the Buffalo zone. Pass cross ice, looking on this right wing side. Another shot on goal, but it's tipped away from Sean Mathias. And Ennis lifts one right into Markstrom's going to hold on to it, so Buffalo will get a face-off in the Florida zone with 8 minutes to go in the second.
Now that's what they got to do here this next 8 minutes. Just get the puck in, win some battles, come up with the puck, get it to the net a little bit here, try to get something going. Sort of sitting back a little too much, allowing Florida to dictate the play when they're getting the puck. Florida's been able to attack with a lot of speed. They haven't been contested too much at the blue line. They got to start being a little more aggressive and not allow them to use that much speed.
Marcus Foligno with Steve Ott to his left, wins the draw in the Panthers zone. Ott on the left wing boards, just trying to get it through traffic to the net. Back to Ott again, takes the shot on Markstrom with a save and a big rebound that's kicked high into the slot. But Jonathan Huberdeau is there to clear for the Panthers, who now have it on the stick of Campbell in their own zone. Quick pass ahead, Winchester, right wing over the Buffalo line, plays it over the far corner. Deep set comes down, but he's watched there by Zadorov. And the Sabres, Foligno tips it off the boards right wing side, tried to initiate a 2-on-1, but it was too far from to catch up to the puck, and the Panthers shoot it right back into the Buffalo zone. Fires from behind his own net, under pressure, plays the puck away, and it's cleared to center, where Kulikov will shoot it right back in, and behind the Buffalo net, Enroth will leave it. Fires up ahead, left wing, Foligno at center. Gets the puck deep in the Florida zone, but the Sabres need a change. I'll give the Panthers time to get the puck out, but instead they're going in the wrong direction. And Buffalo with a turnover now. Thomas Vanek, the head of the Panthers line, gets it back again, puts it back deep in the zone. Markstrom will leave it behind the net. And a delayed offside. Linesman with the call. Face-off will come just outside the blue line.
All right, New York Lotto inside the numbers. This is the Florida Panthers' 20th anniversary. The inaugural season, 1993-94. You see all the individuals that were originals. Bill Torrey, Bobby Clark, Roger Nielsen, all that. Big Craig Ramsey in his second session here with the Florida Panthers. Lindy Ruff went on from here to coach the Sabres.
Kevin Dineen, the 11th coach in the History's franchise. His team with 3 wins on the season, up 1-0 here. Thomas Vanek behind the Panthers goal. Centers in front. Cody Hodgson just couldn't get his stick onto it. Comes back to the far point. Ristolainen shot, scores! Traffic in front. And a fight as McCormick and Goodbranson. It'll be Goodbranson's second scrap of the night. As I believe McCormick was trying to get the puck for Ristolainen, and now the 2 players go down after the short scrap. This game should be tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, nice job by Ristolainen from the point, just getting the puck through to the net. Puck's just going to work its way back to Ristolainen on the left side of your screen here. Off the wall, he does not hesitate. He takes a quick look, pulls it to the middle, just a wrist shot straight through. And he's able to get the puck to the net, and then you're going to see Cody Hodgson, or excuse me, Cody McCormick, thinking the puck was laying there, that it might not have went into the net because he was tied up in front, and he kind of lunges to try to put this puck into the net after everything was over. And when that happens, he's confronted by Goodbranson, and they get in a fight. Couple good shots in by Cody McCormick early. And then they go to the ice. Right here, you see him get the puck, get his head up, and this nice, easy wrist shot to the net, and it finds its way through.
Another moment to remember. This one for Rasmus Ristolainen, his first. And we saw Nikita Zadorov get his first the other night. So Buffalo ties the game, 6:26 to go in the second period. Panthers shoot it in. Pesek giving chase. Bergenheim bumps with him in the corner. Pesek still down on the ice. Bergenheim under the icing line, now behind the net. Tries to bring the puck out front, can't fish it through the legs, and Girgensons has stood up, but he gets the puck outside the blue line. Comes back to Ehrhoff. His pass out goes off of Gomez, but Girgensons left wing in over the floor of the line. Continues to trudge forward. Plays it under the icing line where Gomez is met there. Ehrhoff comes down the boards to keep it deep. Larson giving chase. Gilbert on his backhand far corner. Plays it behind his own net. Girgensons racing after it. Finishes his check on the near boards. Ennis comes down to fish for the puck, but it's Brad Boyes now at center. He brings it over the line along with Versteeg, who tries to dance his way through a crowd. Boyes has it far circle, takes a shot in, Roth through traffic, makes the save, and it remains at 1-1. The first for Ristolainen, 5:32 to go in the second. We're tied at 1. Need a fence, deck, or porch railings? Cut your maintenance and trust in all the best. Call the Vinyl Outlet today.
Vinyl Outlet top D, Brian Campbell in his 14th NHL season. Third with Florida, 767 games, closing in on 400 points along the way. He's won a Lady Byng, a Stanley Cup in Chicago. Very successful career so far for Brian Campbell, one of the greatest guys. Sit, talk to, so nice. He just had a child 4 months ago. He's a happily married man, and it's good to see him having success down here in Florida.
Panthers off the face-off, the Buffalo zone, bring it back to the point. Now Campbell fans on the shot, went off the heel of his stick. Coming from the right point, the Sabres able to clear it out to center. McCormick and Goodbranson in the box after their scrap. And the Sabres tie the game at 1 apiece here in the second period with 5:08 to go. Versteeg gives the puck away. Foligno right wing. And the play is whistled down. And I think we have a hooking call coming up against Buffalo. That is indeed the case.
And Mikhail Grigorenko's going to the box here.
Minor penalty for hooking.
And it is hooking. Take a look at that penalty here. Coming up the ice. Not a spot where you want to see a penalty taken, but he just kind of gets his stick on the Florida player, spins him around a little bit, loses control of the puck.
Second power play for the Panthers. Shot stopped by Jonas Enroth as they came down the left wing off another face-off win by the Panthers, and Fleischmann was able to come to the circle and fire that shot.
Yeah, second opportunity on the power play for Florida. 0 for 1. That's the first shot they've been able to generate so far.
Barkov out there has a couple of power play goals. so far this season. 2 goals on the campaign off the faceoff. Puck behind the Buffalo net. Now Girgensons from the left corner lifts it all the way down to the Florida zone. Flynn gives chase, first man deep. Girgensons as well, both in the Florida zone. Panthers though with a pass ahead to Kulikov. He's over the line. Right wing drop for Stieg for Fleischmann. Late on the play is Barkov. He plays it to the far point. Campbell winds it, fires, and that goes off the side of the net. Fans thought that might have gone in. Back to Campbell again for Versteeg off the left wing boards. Into the slot. Barkov plays it back to the top of the zone. Kulikov for Campbell. Left wing hash marks. Edge of the circle. Cradles the puck. Pass cross ice. Fleischmann settles it. Shoots it. Blocker save made by Enroth on a loose puck. Panthers on it. Keep it in. Kulikov on the right wing boards to the middle of the zone for Fleischmann. Right winger cuts in. Cross ice for Campbell. Hops over a stick, but he settles it. Cross ice, and Fleischmann bangs on a one-timer. Trying to get down on the knee to hammer that one. Panthers on the power play for 53 more seconds, barring another call. 1-1 game. The Sabres behind the net. Ehrhoff hammers the puck the length of the ice. A much-needed change for the Buffalo penalty kill as they race to the bench. 40 seconds to go in the power play. Campbell, long drop pass. Back in his own zone. Gomez carries straight up the middle over his Buffalo line, where he's checked there, and now Ott will play it back, and Myers trying to clear, goes off the back of Jonathan Huberdeau. And then Huberdeau knocked down just ahead of the Buffalo blue line, and the Sabres able to clear it. 20 seconds to go down this penalty kill for Buffalo as Gilroy has it behind his own net. He'll stop and wait. He'll leave it for the rush to start ahead of him, and Gomez carries. Pass on the left wing. Gilbert fires it in. Puck comes around the beach, down in the near corner. He's met there by Zadorov. Here's a pass in front, and Huberdeau fired it wide. Went by the glove side of Jonas Enroth along the ice. Now Huberdeau, near circle, has the puck in his skates and then taken away. Stafford snaps a pass ahead. Sabres back to full strength. Grigorenko in the slot, drags a shot through. It's weak and wide as he had his stick tied up in the follow-through, and Gomez lifts a pass up ahead to Gilbert on the left wing. Panthers need to change. We're tied at 1 with 2:41 to go here in period number 2. Sabres get fresh legs on as well as the puck is carried to center and then shot into the Florida zone. Kopetsky. Cross ice pass. Panthers gain the zone. Left wing shot stopped by Enroth. Puck in behind the Buffalo net. Sean Matthias slows it down. Trying to curl out of the corner. Matthias still with it. Comes back to the point. Weaver puts it off the boards. Here's a shot that goes wide of the goal by Kopetsky. Campbell keeps it in. Kopetsky behind the net, can't trap it. Weaver comes down the wall on the right side to try to keep it in. Tip to the line, not yet out. Now it is. Now Ennis leads a possible 2-on-1 left wing. Pass in front, and that deflects. Bouncing puck. Panic can't knock it down. Now Sean Matthias right wing over the line. Matthias cuts towards the net. Can't get the shot away. Nice play by Ristolainen on defense for Buffalo. No penalty on the play as he tied him up just enough. Sabres in their own end. Now Foligno left wing to center. He's over the Florida line. Down to the circle. Takes the shot. Tough angle shot, but Markstrom forced to make the save at the near post. And the puck finds its way back to center with Winchester on the right wing. He takes a hit from Girgensons as he gets it into the Buffalo zone. Now Ehrhoff. Break wide pass to the right side. Comes right back to the near side. Foligno strides over the line. Left wing. Pass off the far corner. Pesek puts it off the glass. Comes back to the point near side of the Florida zone. Ehrhoff just plays it deep into the far corner. Pesek for Girgensons, tips one towards the goal, and that one is stopped by the left hand of Markstrom with 1:10 to go in the second period. Tied at 1. Good seats are still available for upcoming Sabres home games. For tickets, log on to Sabres.com or call 1-888-GO-SABRES.
Rasmus Klein has scored a goal in this hockey game. Now he's showing great defensive posture right here. Does a nice job, doesn't have to attack. Gets his stick and body in the right area. Takes away the great scoring opportunity for Florida. Jonas Enroth comes up with a big save here during the power play for the Florida Panthers. Keeping this game tied at 1.
Bjugstad and Larson on the faceoff, and a false start. Bjugstad won the draw, and they're going to do this again. Ott and Stafford out as well. This faceoff to the left of Markstrom. Larson won the draw, but then was knocked to the ice as he tried to play it back to the shooter on the play, but Zadorov back in his own zone. Plays one off the left wing boards. Linesman, you can hear the call for icing as that puck rifled down the ice. We're down to 60 seconds left in this period. 1-1.
Now the Sabres, since they scored that goal, get a little more life here later in the second period. The last second half's been a fairly decent period for them. Getting the puck in, creating a few more opportunities. Still only 13 shots after this 2 periods. They got to generate a few more here.
Face-off won by the Panthers, kept in at the line by Campbell, along with Huberdeau. Versteeg on the right wing boards, trying to play it in front, goes off escape, but back to Campbell. Now Fleischmann plays it to an open corner, far side. Stafford just gets enough of it to get it out of the zone, but not as much as he wanted on it. The Panthers fire right back in again. Enroth will leave it behind the net with 35 seconds to go. Myers trying to combine with Zadorov to get the puck out of the zone. Ott comes back to help. Now Zadorov into traffic. Comes away with the puck up through center. Nikita Zadorov finds some room. He's in over the Florida line. Drop pass. Zadorov now underneath the icing line. Just going to overskate the puck and get back in the defensive position as the Panthers come back. Versteeg missed the pass to the right wing at 14 seconds to go in the period. Knocks it down. No high stick, says the referee. Puck in the Buffalo zone. Versteeg, right wing. Pass up top. And it deflects off the stick of Kulikov into the crowd. And the Sabres catch a real break there with 5.5 seconds to go in the period.
Yeah, they did. Kulikov was wide open over there, and if he was able to handle that puck, he was in perfect position. So a young man right there jumping up in the play just before that, creating some good opportunity. What I liked it, when he made the drop pass, he didn't peel off and just go to the point. He kept going on the offense, almost got the puck back. Right here, you're going to see the puck come across. Kulikov tries playing it on the backhand, goes off the blade of his stick and up over the glass.
Sabres win the faceoff, and with 2 seconds, dribble one off the goal, and Markstrom just keeps it out.
You know, much better period for the Sabres here. They got their feet going early in that period, a little bit of a doubt. But as they got going, they started to generate a little more. Still got to get a lot more shots. Got to spend some more time in the offensive zone. But what they did, I thought they got a little more physical. They started winning some battles. They started coming up with the pucks. And when you do that, you're going to create some more chances. So if they can continue this in the third period, they've got themselves in a good position.
2 goals have been scored on this night. The Panthers scored the first at 13:58 of the first period. But the highlight for the Sabres, Rasmus Ristolainen with his first at 13:32 of the second has tied it at 1 after 2 in Florida. Brian, thank you very much. Nikita Zadorov is 18 years of age. Semgus Girgenssen's 19. And tonight, at 18 years of age, Rasmus Ristolainen, as you mentioned, scores his first in the National Hockey League. And the Buffalo Sabres tied at 1. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's great these kids getting some success individually early. You know, because they get a little taste of it. You know, it kind of adds that little spark. Yeah, we make it to the NHL, but you know what? They proved to themselves and proved to everybody they can contribute to.
Sabres from left to right here in this third period. Markstrom and Enroth, the goaltenders, and let's see what unfolds as at the point on the right wing side. Marcus Foligno sends it down to the corner. Grigorenko getting chased. Kulikov in the far corner meets him at the puck at the same time. And Barkov plays it ahead, and the Panthers will be able to break it out. Pass up on the left wing side, and Campbell stops just over the Buffalo blue line. Sends it to the front of the net. Ehrhoff is there. He's clear, intercepted, and a shot from the high slot by Kulikov doesn't get to the net. And the Sabres now chasing the puck again is Winchester. For Gotch, who backhands one rather weak to the side of the net, but Enroth had to pay mind to it, and he'll cover up.
Now the Sabres are in good position where he wasn't able to turn and get a great shot on net. He's just able to throw the puck to it. Enroth's able to cover it for the whistle. But Florida's going to have some zone time here. The guys have got to kind of stay almost man-to-man. They got to get where they're positioned, get their stick where they can be, not allow those big shots from the slots like they did in the first period.
Off the draw in the Buffalo zone. The puck comes to center ice. Vanek can't get onto the end of it, so it's back in the Buffalo end again. Myers from the right circle drops the pass back. Zadorov back to Myers' right wing, and the shoot-in for the Sabres is on. Markstrom to play it behind the net, but let it go. And now Sean Mathias will skate up to center ice, right wing side of the ice, along with Kopetsky, who takes the pass and then is hammered to the ice as Nikita Zadorov lowers the boom on the Florida forward. Now Flynn snaps a pass left wing, looking for Thomas Vanek too far. And Gilbert backing up near circle in his own zone. Pass into the middle of the zone, taken by Marcel Gotch, and he dances his way over the Buffalo line. Right wing pass and a shot. Enroth the save. And his position tonight, Jonas Enroth, as mentioned by Brad May in the intermissions, has just been lights out.
Well, Karuba Collision, make the right decision. Insist on Karuba Collision, the official collision repair center of the Buffalo Sabres. Getting Zadorov coming across, finishing the man. This is what he likes to do. He likes stepping up on that blue line. He gets guys' heads up. He might not get a piece of them all the time, but next time they're coming down, they're looking for him, and he'll be able to take advantage of them.
Panthers win the draw. Shot doesn't get through. The Buffalo zone. Sabres now with a breakout on the right wing side. Hit the puck to the floor of the line. He's Ennis out there with Jurgensen and Larson. And it's batted back into the Buffalo zone. Now the Sabres come back to center ice. Hit over the floor of the line. Jurgensen's right wing side. Throws it in front of the net. Goes off of Ennis and reaches back for it. Houston is back to take the puck away from him. Now he's stripped by Ennis to the right wing corner. Underneath the icing line, trying to play it in behind the net. Play stays on the boards. Huberdeau knocked down by Ristolainen, who jumps into the play. Loose puck to the front of the net. Panthers on it. And now it's Huberdeau on the left wing from Fleischmann, and Huberdeau will just send it deep into the Buffalo zone. Florida changing it up. Sabres doing the same. As Ristolainen has it. Off to the right of his goaltender. Snaps a pass cross ice. Off the skate of McCormick. Panthers get it back again. Gomez just tips it into the Buffalo zone. Now McCormick at center. Right wing for Drew Stafford. He backhands one deep into the Florida zone. Markstrom out to play it under pressure on the wall, and it clears out to center ice up the left wing side for Florida. Hessick backing up in his own zone. Cross ice pass. Comes back to the near side, and Stafford in to receive it in his own end. Off the left wing boards. Pass too far, and Gomez has it for the Panthers. He's knocked off the puck and knocked down to the ice is Bergenheim. As the Panthers forced back into their own end. Trying to come up the left wing boards. Kulikov has it. Campbell with him at center takes the puck, carries over the Buffalo line. Stafford reaching for it. Tried to play it back. Stafford has it come back to him again. Little backhand pass in his own zone finds McCormick, right wing at center, and he'll lift one right to the floor of the net. Sabres change it up with 16:52 to go in a 1-1 game here in the third period. Panthers now to center. Barkov. Met right at the red line. That slows down the rush, but following up is Fleischmann left wing side in over the Buffalo line. To the circle with the puck. Somewhere in that massive legs, Barkov comes up with it, throws it for Stieg down underneath the icing line. He lost it. Now Myers with some speed up to center ice. Left wing side, he'll shoot it in. Racing down after it. Ennis got a piece of it. Steve Ott throws it to the side of the net. Foligno for Ott behind the Panthers goal. On his backhand, Ott lays it off. Shot goes off the side of the net. And Foligno's on the puck now. Hurling from the left wing corner, plays it back to the point. Myers near side. Can't handle the pass, plays it down to the right wing corner. Coming down to keep it deep is Foligno. Ennis behind the net chasing after the puck. And Gilbert now for the Panthers. With time and space quickly taken away by Foligno, will finish his check on the far side of the Panthers zone. Foligno will go to the bench after that hit. And the Panthers Weaver under pressure here on the near side. Now Cody Hodgson takes a pass from Myers and fires a shot. Pad save, rebound, and no shot. As Thomas Vanek was looking for the loose puck, has it. In the corner now for Hodgson. Back in front to Vanek. He's tied up. John Mathias stayed with him. Weaver falls down behind the net. Loose puck to the near corner. Sabres continuing pressure. Ristolainen shot. Pad save made by Markstrom. Behind the net for Cody Hodgson. Watched by Weaver. Hodgson, left wing corner, turns now, walks towards the net, takes a shot, rebound is cleared. Vanek back to the point. McBain plays it off the left wing boards, reaching for it, Cody Hodgson. Gilbert on his back, knocks him to the ice. Hodgson gets up, Gilbert gets the puck, and the Panthers now will finally get it out of their own zone. And backing up as Sean Mathias carries left wing over the line is Ristolainen, and is deflected off the Buffalo Sabres defenseman's stick with 15:03 to go on the third. We're tied at 1.
Well, the Sabres coming close in the Florida zone. Cody Hodgson taking the puck wide here. Getting the shot on net. Big save by the goalie. Pouts right back out to Thomas Vanek. He's not able to get a good shot. But this morning in practice, Cody Hodgson probably 25 times just came down the wing looking to blast. After practice, he was doing the same thing. And he's just looking. He's working on that play. He knows it can be successful. If he gets that puck to the net, good things will happen.
Off the draw, Huberdeau keeps it in the Sabres zone. Takes a shot, blocker shot on Enroth. Stopped, and the puck now behind the Buffalo net. That's a giving chase. Huberdeau and he get to the puck at the same time. Bounces free and now up the right wing boards, and Stafford touches it center ice. And now deep in the Florida zone, the right wing side. Stafford will chase after the puck. Out there along with Jurgensen. Sends it behind the net. Watched by Goodbranson. Stafford on the loose puck. Back to the far point. Ehrhoff's shot looking for the deflection from Larson. That's broken up. Now Huberdeau to center. Left wing side. Pass in over the Buffalo line. Brad Boyes plays it behind the net to an open corner. Ehrhoff on it first. Gets it up to the blue line, and Jurgensen's with a tip to center. And the Panthers, Kulikov backing up inside his own zone along with Brian Campbell, the 34-year-old out of Strathroy, Ontario. Leaves it. And now it's Gomez who carries in over the Buffalo line. Left wing, glove save made by Jonas Enroth as he drifts off to his left to bring that one in. 38th shot on net for the Florida Panthers.
Now the Sabres continue to be aggressive here in the third period. 34 hits are at right now, 16 block shots. They're getting involved. They're getting himself in front, but they continue to be physical. The last couple of games, it's something they've really stressed on, leaning on the opposition, trying to wear him down a little bit.
Zadorov off the face-off from behind his own net for on the left wing at center. He'll shoot it into the near corner. Sabres from left to right in this third period. Foligno chasing after the puck, can't catch up to it. And now the Panthers up to center. Bergenheim has it go off the leg, and he stays on side as the puck is carried in over the Buffalo line. Sabres get it out again. Ott with the tip left wing at center. Markstrom out to play it. Beside the net. Kulikov tries to come out of the corner. He's stripped. Ott plays it back to the line, and Zadorov, all he can do is play it to an open area of the ice and get back into possession. John Bergenheim over the line, and he's stripped to the puck. Zadorov neatly plays it for Myers. Here in the near corner in his own zone. Pass off the boards. On the stride for the puck. Marcus Foligno can't quite get there, and Versteeg touches it away from him, but now it comes back into the Buffalo end, and Myers skating away from Versteeg will bring it up to his own blue line. Quick pass ahead to Vanek, left wing. Cody Hodgson tried to send it back into the front of the net. Weaver knocks it down. It's under the icing line in the Florida zone. Far circle, reaching for it. Thomas Vanek up there with Flynn and Cody Hodgson. The Panthers come back to center. Versteeg falls down. Hodgson on the loose puck on the left wing. Hits it over the line, but Branson cuts it off. Puck is still in the Florida zone. Vanek trying to get after it. And good Branson now for Gilroy as they go back and forth between one another. Now Versteeg on the right wing takes a pass over the Buffalo line. Versteeg holds it. Still with it. End of the circle. Takes a shot wide of the goal. Enroth had to be mindful of that one from a tough angle, however, with 12:25 to go in the third period in a 1-1 game. Puck deep in the Sabres zone. Ristolainen staying tight on Versteeg behind the net. Fleischmann trying to drag it out, and the puck will exit the zone all the way back into the Florida end. More puck possession time deep in the Sabres zone for the Panthers. Sabres trying to get some fresh legs onto the ice. Ennis will give chase as now it's brought forward by Marcel Gotch-Kopechki. Right wing looking to cut to the net. Throws it to the side of the net. Gotch tries to turn and shoot. That goes off of Pesek. Played back to the point. Kulikov, left circle. Pass, cross ice off the skate. Sabres with a chance to transition. Maybe a 2-on-1. Left wing and over the line. Pesek's going to the net. The shot wide of the goal. Chance in transition for Buffalo. And they have to go back after it in their own end again. 11:30 to go in the third period. Here's McCormick. Right wing to center. Now into the Florida zone. Campbell behind his own net. Plays it up the far boards. Comes back to Campbell. Kulikov takes the pass cross ice. Near circle. Back to Campbell between the hash marks. He'll skate to the blue line with a pass up through center. Huberdeau. Coming off of hip surgery. Jonathan Huberdeau saying he's just starting to discover some better posture in his skating. Speaking of posture, leaning in was Stafford as he cut to the net off the left wing. Myers keeps it deep in the Florida zone against Campbell in behind the net. Myers trying to center, and Markstrom mindful to his right. And now Huberdeau will carry out the center ice, but he's bothered by Myers, who hustles back to good position. And now it's Grigorenko who has it over center. In over the line, looking for Stafford. Bouncing puck, can't settle it down. And it's forced back into the Panthers zone by McCormick with 10:37 to go in the third period. 1-1 Winchester in the first, and Ristolainen with his NHL first in the second period. Panthers back in the zone. Winchester trying to throw it on goal. Puck comes around the near side. Gomez back to the line. Weaver takes a shot. Band on it, goes wide. Enroth far post will cover up again. Not much in the way of rebounds anywhere near Jonas Enroth tonight. He's faced 39 shots in the third period. We are tied at 1.
The bad blue light player profile tonight is Jamie McBain, playing in his 7th game of the season. Getting involved down low, picking up his man, but nice, always looking. You see this guy's head always moving. He's looking for the position he needs to be in, finding out where the man is. Does not hesitate to jump up in the play like this, going in on the offense. Been great on the back end, distributing the puck right here. Look at him. Head's always looking, knowing where the man is, trying to find out who he can cover. Got his 3rd point here tonight, an assist on the first goal, too.
Puck out at center ice. Panthers looking to gain the zone on the right wing side. Fleischman intercepts. Plays it ahead now, and Barkov's in over the Buffalo line. Left wing side of the net for Stieg with a shot, and Enroth hugs the post and knocks it down. And again, you mentioned it earlier, can't overemphasize, 0 rebound.
Yeah, he is. He's controlling extremely well because Ford is looking to go short side an awful lot. Brad talked about it in the intermission. They're kind of attacking from the side, but Jonas is doing a nice job tucking the post. He's not giving anything. He's got himself up high, and as they get lower and lower, he kind of slides down the post to protect that lower area. And when that puck's coming across, he's doing a nice job allowing his D to come and get it or making the save.
Sabres dress 7 defensemen tonight. Mike Weber will not return due to an injury suffered earlier tonight. Face-off in the Buffalo zone to the right of Enroth. Cody Hudson on the face-off. Puck in the corner. Left wing side for the Panthers. Marcel Gottsch. Pesek trying to fish it free. He does. Backhand pass ahead for Hodgson, who skated just enough ahead of the play. The Panthers are able to beat into the puck and shoot it in. Marcel Gottsch, left wing boards, can't keep it in. Now Flynn has the puck go off his stick. Panthers backing up in their own end. Give it away to Flynn. Snaps a pass for Vanek over the line. Far circle, takes a shot. Weaver with a block. And Kopechny on the rebound. His breakout pass went off his skate, but Panthers fortuitous that they're able to get the puck out of the zone anyway. Right on the Enroth, a slow roller. He'll leave it. And now Cody Hodgson right wing at his own blue line. Cross ice pass off the board. Pesek will hammer it in and go to the bench. Markstrom leaves it behind the net. Campbell, well over 20 minutes by the time this is done. Plays the puck ahead. He's already over 20 minutes at this point with 9:02 to go in the game. Left wing side, Sabres offside as they try to gain the Florida zone. We are tied at 1 with 8:59 to go in the third. The Sabres in it in Florida. Time for our Toyota big save. He's made 39 saves tonight. And Jonas Enroth and Thomas Fleischman here. A little backhand pass in front. There it is again. Cover up. Absolutely 0 second chance for the Panthers as they're looking for that second chance in the blue ice. We're tied at 1. 8:59 to go in the third.
And he's made some big saves tonight. 40 shots on net here so far tonight.
Panthers win the draw from their own zone. Pass up the left wing boards. Bergenheim in over the line. Earlier today, Kevin Lee asked if he would ease Bergenheim back into the game. He said, not a chance. Welcome back to the NHL. Getting full minutes. Bouncing puck by circle, Ennis giving chase. Gomez plays it to the near corner. Panthers deep in their own end. Played behind the net by Gergensen. Referee throws a pixel. Larson can't get to the puck. The Panthers still forced deep. Again, Larson with a strong forecheck for the Sabres. And the Panthers able to get the puck out to center ice. That's it. Now Myers. Right side, up at center. In over the Panthers line. Lost it as he lost his stick getting over the line. But Ennis continues with possession. Drops it back. Cutting in with a shot that's rifled high and wide of the net. Going to the bench after rifling that shot on goal was Nikita Zadorov. And the Panthers with that open space able to use the right wing in their own zone to pass it up ahead to Barkov on the left wing. He's over the Buffalo line. Bergenheim has a man in front of the pass just a little late. Unattended Panther in front of the net and can't capitalize. And McBain, right wing, will bring it up to center and shoot it deep into the Panthers zone. Gilroy from behind his own net flushed out. Fleischman, left wing, reaching for that puck ahead of McBain, Pesek, and then gives him a bump. That gets the pass off anyway to Versteeg. Bouncing puck towards the slot. Now Versteeg trying to catch back up to it in the high slot, and the Sabres come away with it. Grigorenko throws it to the far post. Foligno couldn't catch up to it. Now has it, plays it back to Ehrhoff at the point with the shot. Scores! Tipped in front of the net, and the Buffalo Sabres have taken the lead here in Sunrise.
And after that goal, Versteeg took a beating. Marcus Foligno come in and put him on his butt. But nice play up the ice. You're going to see the Sabres gain control of the puck. Christian Ehrhoff, just nice shot, getting it through to the net. Steve Ott in front, indicating that he got a piece of this puck. Right there, just a deflection, putting it far side, but a nice job from the point. And a great job getting in front by Steve Ott to redirect that puck.
Steve Ott's first of this season, his 95th career goal, and the Buffalo Sabres have the lead They turn the puck over though. Marcel Gotch now in the Buffalo zone behind the net for Jonathan Huberdeau. Kopetsky in the far corner against Cody Hodgson. Kopetsky turns to his forehand. Hodgson pins him against the boards. Puck slides across the front of the net. Sabres on it. Myers plays it ahead, and then Flynn tips it deep into the Florida zone. No icing on the play. Players may be a bit confused on it as they got deep into the Florida zone. Panthers just send it back out to center ice. Zadorov fires it right back into the Florida zone behind the net. Markstrom will leave it there. Sabres getting a change in. 6:35 to go. In period number 3, Buffalo with the lead as Gomez carries now up to center. To the Buffalo line and in. Pass off to the right wing side. Gomez looking for the tip, and Bergenheim just overskates a rebound as well. One of very few rebounds kicked out by Jonas Enroth tonight on that save, and this time the Sabres do indeed ice the puck with 6:19 to go. 2-1 Buffalo, third period.
And nice job by the Sabres, just kind of holding ground. They haven't generated a ton of opportunities here tonight, but capitalizing on the ones they have. Now with 6:19 left, clean up your own zone. Don't allow the second and third opportunities, and get the puck moving up the ice as quick as possible.
Both goals, traffic in front of the net, McCormick and Ott.
Yeah, it was. Redirections, getting that puck there with guys in front make it very difficult for the goaltender to see.
Campbell keeps it in the Buffalo zone with the backhand down to the right wing corner. Barkov in behind the Sabres net with his pass. Panthers trying to curl away Versteeg from Ristolainen. He does. Plays it out front. Back behind the net. Barkov knocked to the ice. Bouncing puck. There's a shot. Pad save made by Enroth as he fired that right leg over to the near post to keep it out. Panthers keep the pressure on. Kulikov near point. Cross ice. Campbell. Cross ice for Versteeg. Near circle left wing side. Snaps one through the slot, and that's deflected by McBain. And Grigorenko racing over to the puck. Can't get it out. No, it stays in the zone. Sabres can't clear. Versteeg from the left wing corner at the circle, falls down. Sabres catch a break, and now they're able to get it to the blue line and out with a pass ahead and up to center. Off the right wing side, Stafford just in over the Florida line with a dump in, and it's Kulikov who quickly plays it ahead, and now Huberdeau down to the left wing corner of the Buffalo zone behind the net. Gomez races to it, plays it back to the far point. Gilroy can't keep it in, it bounces out. Out Campbell takes a pass, near boards, he turns it over. Girgensons over the line, drop pass for Ennis. Ennis lays it off. One more pass will do it. Girgensons have an open net. There's the centering pass, comes back to the point. Ehrhoff settles it, fires it, and that one is wide of the goal. Panthers get to it first, and it's cleared outside the line. Pesic then, stripped. Huberdeau plays it over the Buffalo line. Gomez, little backhand pass. Goodbranson wires one wide. Near line, kept in. Gomez. Pass cross for Gilroy at the far point. Down low for Huberdeau. Spins away from Ehrhoff. Cross ice. Gomez missed the tip here at the near post. Enroth was there if he had to be, but not much on the tip. Now Mathias behind the Buffalo net. Watched by Ehrhoff. Puck comes to the near corner. Mathias racing after it. Pesic gets there as well. Huberdeau fishes it free. Pesic tips it away from him. Goodbranson to the near point. Along with Ennis battling for the puck. Stays in the Buffalo zone. Ennis still digs for it. Finally digs it up, and he gets it into the Florida zone. Sabres get a change, and they needed it. 4:10 to go in the third. 2-1 Buffalo. Panthers Gilroy up ahead. John Mathias makes one move, cuts it over the line. Kopetsky, right wing side. Zadorov pins him against the glass. Now Marcus Foligno on the loose puck. He plays it ahead to Steve Ott, left wing over the line into the Florida zone. Puck in behind the Panthers net. Florida able to clear it up the wall near side, and Sean Mathias back in his own end. Snaps a pass in the right wing as he goes to the bench. Now Marcel Gotch. Kopetsky with a shot, and Enroth looks behind him, but he's got it. 43rd shot on net for the Florida Panthers. Doesn't get past Enroth. It's 2-1 Buffalo. The Connors and Ferris replay. Western New York's workers' comp attorneys committed to serving Buffalo Rochester's injured worker.
Steve Ott put the Sabres up 2-1 here, right in the middle of your screen. Steve Ott. And we're going to roll this tape. You're going to see exactly how this all developed. He picks up the puck, makes a nice play, and he just follows it up. Grigorenko takes it wide, makes one attempt, stays with the puck, gets it across. Just see Steve Ott just floating in the middle of the ice there, all the way up to the net. Ehrhoff, nice job getting the puck through in a great direction.
Here's McCormick. Creates a 2-on-1 in over the Florida line. Pass in front. McCormick with the tip. Comes back to Ehrhoff. Holds the shot. Drops it back to the line. Kept in. And a weak shot towards the goal there by Vanek. Intercepted by the Panthers. And the Sabres now backing up as Barkov into the Buffalo zone. Sends one into the slot. Loose puck taken by Buffalo and Pesic. And skid it to the line and not get it out. If there's off the back of Campbell. And Pesic gets another chance this time to get it into the Panther zone. Sabres, Cody Hodgson just ahead of the Florida blue line right wing. Will go to the bench as he gets it deep. Campbell now in behind the net. Panthers change it up as well, down to 2:56 to go, third period. Sabres with a 2-1 lead, looking for their second win of the campaign. As Kulikov from center will shoot it in far corner. And the linesman says you didn't wait till center, so icing.
It's Miller time. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Cody McCormick in front of the net, doing an excellent job here, doing some nice hard work. He's going to follow himself right to the front of the net. Ristolainen is going to take a shot from the point. It's going into the net for the Sabres' first goal, but an excellent work by Cody McCormick, distracting the defender and the goaltender in front.
Sabres win the draw. Here's Girgensons in front. In the far left circle, turned to shoot, and that one went high over the net. Pass back to the point, he's intercepted. And backing up into his own zone, Ristolainen snaps a pass ahead. Girgensons with a tip ahead of the Florida blue line. In behind the Panthers' net. Florida's on it though with 2:26 to go. And the rush now up through center. Gilroy with a pass for Sean Bergenheim on the left wing. Tips it deep into the Buffalo end. Underneath the icing line. Coming back to help out. Now Ennis on the boards. Around Gilroy with the tip. And the puck to center for Girgensons. Ennis follows up right wing. He's over the Panthers line. Ennis turns, looks in the middle of the ice. Girgensons goes to the net. He thought about going to the Buffalo bench for a change, and he'll do so now as play gets over to the right side by the players' bench. Myers from center with a shoot into the Panthers zone. Not much on that one, though. It allows Florida a chance to get possession back. And the Panthers will lift it to center. Foligno intercepts that pass. He knocks it down. Here's Flynn from the right point. Takes a shot. Off the end boards. Puck now in behind the Florida net. Campbell plays it ahead for Sean Matthias, and he snaps the pass back here for Gilbert on the near side. He'll stop Gilbert and fire a pass for Kopetsky. In over the line, and he's hammered to the ice. Nikita Zadorov leveled him. And now Matthias side of the net, cutting to the goal, and Enrov held the post to make the save. Kopetsky covering from that hit as he'll go to the bench. And the Panthers forced back into their own end with 1:19 to go. Here's Campbell to center. Pass off to Versteeg on the right wing over the Buffalo line. Versteeg cuts to the net. Enroth the save. Puck bounces high into the air. Into the corner to the left of Enroth. Markstrom looking like he wants to come out of the net, but the puck comes back into the Florida zone. So he backs up between the pipes for now. With 1 minute to go in the third period, Buffalo holding a 2-1 lead. We'll watch for the Panthers keeper now. Markstrom goes to the bench with the puck still in the Panthers zone. Now to center. Sabres on it. Empty net chance. Here's Cody Hodgson, scores! The empty netter. Cody Hodgson, 3-1 Buffalo with 46.6 seconds to go in the third.
Well, Cody Hodgson did not make any mistake there. He had Thomas Vanek too with him, but he decided to hang on to this puck and take it himself. But a nice job by the Sabres. Not falling back, they were attacking, not allowing Florida to get up in the zone. You see the empty net shot right there, but right here, we're going to show you a hit that led to all this. This is confidence by a young man. Most of the time, you just sort of back off, and you're going to let him make the play. No, being aggressive, makes the hit, finishes the check, and they're able to come up with the puck and move up the ice. But a nice job by Zadorov, showing confidence, realizing, hey, I can play this game. And he scores a goal the other night, gets his first goal. You talk to this young kid, he's just, some guys think he's a little cocky, but you know what? I like it because it's confidence, and it's something that you got to kind of brush off on other guys. And he's got it right there, and he showed all night where he's finished checks. He hasn't hesitated to make plays. He's jumped up in the play. He's hung onto the puck. Did a lot of nice things, that young man.
Well, and in fairness to him, too, if someone does consider it cockiness, it's really just a love for the game. Anytime you get a chance to talk with him, his first words to you are, I love to play hockey. And that's the first thing he'll tell you. And then I think you're right. That's where that confidence comes from. And he really simplifies the game in saying that. I love to play hockey. It's all I've ever done. I just want to play hockey.
No, you're 100% right. And you just like the way this kid, hopefully it brushes off on these guys, seeing how carefree he is and the way he plays the game. Relaxed.
45 seconds. Net is still empty for the Panthers. His Fleischman from center tries to get the puck deep. Sabres can't clear. Now Ott has it just shy of center ice, and he'll just lift it into the Panthers zone. Campbell with a hard around clear. That comes right to Flynn. He sends that one across to the far corner, and Gilbert on it now with 29 seconds to go. Pass up to center. Fleischman tips it into the Buffalo zone. In behind the net, Myers now. Lays it up the boards. Barkov can't keep it in. Now a race for the puck here on the right wing side. Hawk getting after against Gilbert. The puck rolls to the side of the open net and missed the cage. And now it's played up to center, tipped into the Buffalo zone. Enroth watching as Myers gets onto the puck right in front of him. Sends it up ahead to Ott over center. Shoots it into the Panther zone, and time ticks away. And the Buffalo Sabres win their second of the season and their second straight road game. 3-1 the final, despite being outshot 45-21 on this night.
Yeah, it was. And there was times in this game where you kind of had your doubts whether the Sabres were going to be able to make this happen. But Jonas Enroth gave him the opportunity, kept him in this game. Like you said, he faced 45 shots, only giving up 1 goal. And the confidence came from him and worked its way up through. When they had the opportunities, they capitalized them. They didn't generate a ton of chances early in this hockey game, but they were able to get that first goal. That fight by Steve Ott at the end of the period kind of got themselves going, sparked a little bit. There was a lot of fire in them, but you like to see the young kids here tonight. We just showed Zadorov. Great game out of him, finishing checks, doing all the little things. Ristolainen scoring his first goal. You like to see all these guys getting involved. And Grigorenko tonight, I thought, did a nice job with the puck. Managed it, taking it wide, looking for guys on the ice, making some decent passes, and finding his way. So definitely some big jumps, good games by young kids, all positive.
Well, and you mentioned it, Brad May mentioned it as well, as we get set to go back to Brian Duff. Players accepting their roles, and that's Steve Ott's role. It's Cody McCormick's role. Zemgus Girgensons with a hard skate. Yep. Larson's hard skating as well. And then you get guys chipping in with their first in the NHL. When you go back to Brian Duff, it's a real recipe for success for a young group trying to gain their confidence.
And they prove to themselves they can win. If they play that game and they're successful at it, then they're going to buy into it that much quicker. So hopefully this is a game that maybe can get them turned around a little bit, gain that confidence, and they'll be able to go from here.